Hi, we're Sailing Britican. I'm Simon, this is Kim. We help people transition from land life to sailing life.
We have been cruisers for 5 years and we have slowly depleted all of our savings account. So essentially we've run out of money. And what we've done is we set ourselves up to offer week-long experiences for people to come out with us and see what it's like to be full-time live-aboard cruisers.
As we were recording this, we're on our 9th Britican Experience in the last 3 months, which is just fantastic.
And right now we're on a 3-week stretch. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, guests have just been incredible. They're all so different, but they've just been fantastic. When we transition from having guests or going back to cruising life, it seems to be a little bit of a struggle sometimes.
I feel like everything's going really well, but I also feel like we are now living into kind of very different worlds. So we've got our world of being cruisers, and that's where we're actively sailing, we're meeting other cruisers, we're part of the community. You know, we can get on the radio and say, hey, does anyone have a rivet gun? And you know everyone, we know we're in Anchorage right now and there's 20 boats around us. We know every single one of those boats. Yeah. When it comes to Sienna, we can easily find play dates. Life as a cruiser is a very specific lifestyle. Yeah. While we're part of the cruising community, we're also doing boat jobs, boat maintenance, and I'm doing videos, articles, promoting our Britican Experience. So, okay, so our cruising community life is a full-time life. Going from a full-time life and then fitting in, I guess what you want to call chartering, it's been a bit challenging.
It has.
Yeah.
So when we have guests on board, we switch over to creating sail plans for people, determining what's the best for our guests, aren't we?
Yeah, they come on board and each group of guests have been different. Some want to learn what it's just like to be in an ocean and do things like just learn a bit about sailing. Other people want to really figure out how to anchor and do mooring balls. Yeah. And some people, want to look at the engine. Everybody comes with different objectives. Yeah. And prepping for that, it's not too difficult. We look at the weather and we figure out where we're going to go and what would work best. But we do have to prep as far as getting the food on board. I spend maybe 2 or 3 days making food ahead of time and freezing it. Yeah. Because it's full on. We are answering questions or teaching or I'm homeschooling Sienna or trying to do a blog. We're doing everything now on top of having guests with us.
Yeah. So we're still having our old lives as well as having the guests. But it seems to be working out fantastic. I love it.
Our cruising life transitions over a little bit to the charter life, and then the charter get to see the cruising life. It's kind of, I don't know how many boats do what we're attempting to do. It is interesting, it is going well, but it is challenging.
It's good. Yeah, I like it though. So last week we had Joe and Sarah on, and they've purchased a very similar boat to ours, and they've been in an 8-month refit, and they just wanted to come and be on our boat, see how we did it on Britican. They were absolutely lovely and we had a great time, didn't we? Yeah,
they really wanted to learn about maneuvering and anchoring and mooring balls and just the practicalities of getting out and sailing and then coming back. I suppose it's really easy. We tell everybody the sailing bit is really easy once you're out there. Yeah. It's getting out and coming in that's the difficult part. Yes. We recently had a viewer email me and said, now that you're doing this chartering thing, are your adventures going to stop? Are you going to stop doing videos? Just because we're doing this experience thing doesn't mean that our adventures have stopped.
Well, no, because we went up to St. Martin and back in Beckway, so that was an adventure.
No, I'm trying to get to the point that even though we have people on board and we're chartering, we have adventures with them.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, but okay, so Simon has a point too. When we're not doing the live-aboard experience, me and Simon and Sienna are going to sail somewhere anyway. What happened last week with Joe and Sarah? Oh. I mean, we couldn't have predicted that this would ever happen.
No, so on our first day sailing, we're coming in, and next minute we hear on the radio that it was a little fishing boat in distress.
Yes, I'm just outside Zero Day, outside Sisters.
Distance over.
I am 29.73.
And we ended up being on a rescue mission to help this boat that was drifting out to sea. and he was lucky enough to have a radio because most of them don't, and if that happens, they're lost.
And at first we thought somebody was going out to get them. We heard like the local port authorities talking to them, but no one was going, and it was like an hour, and Simon's like, all right, we gotta just go get this guy. And there was another boat trying to look for him too, but couldn't have radio. Like they
were both on handhelds for some reason.
Yeah, and they couldn't communicate. So we were kind of the middleman to find the boat. And then it was funny because we just couldn't see him. So do you think, can you see him yet?
No, can't see him, but he says we're on the right direction. He gave us a Latin longitude, and it was 2,500 miles away.
Yeah.
Bless him, because he was panicking because he was going out to sea. He said he had his anchor down, but he was in 500 feet of water, so the anchor was just hanging on. He said he was south, then he said he was north, then he said he was east, then he said he was west.
Yeah.
And in the end I said, right, I'm going to drop my sail. So we dropped the sail. He goes, yeah, I see you. I said, okay, where are you? I'm south of you. So we started heading south. He's going, you're going the wrong way, man. So I went, okay, well, I'm going to turn around the boat. When I start pointing to you, say now. So we turned around almost 180 degrees. He goes, now. And then we sailed off, and then we found him.
Yeah, it took us forever. I mean, it's amazing how you can't see stuff in the open sea.
Hi guys!
And luckily for us, there was another boat that was also trying to help. This was the boat that couldn't communicate by radio. So we were the middleman between those two. We finally got up to the boat, and the other boat said, we've got a short keel. We can bring these guys in. Do you want us to take them? So they did, which was kind.
That's nice of them. So
yeah.
That boat's called Zigzag.
Right! Okay, pilot on the arrival, 1 meter pilot level. Alright! Good job, you're on the radio! The boat that was in this ship, we just don't have right now. I have to say thank you to the good Samaritan. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so that was like one of our first adventures. The second one was, we were anchored. I woke up in the morning, and in the morning I do homeschooling, or I sit in the back cabin and I read. And Simon was up on deck with Joe and Sarah there, or just Joe?
Yeah, it was Joe and Sarah, and then suddenly I see, in the corner of my eye, I see this boat dragging towards us, but it wasn't so bad because it was just a little boat. But then I realised that little boat was attached to a big fishing boat, and I'm going, oh, they're all hands on deck.
Yeah, Simon switched the engine on, and I thought, oh, that's weird, something's wrong. So I heard Simon yell, Kim! And then I ran up, and I saw this huge, like, fishing boat, local fishing boat, descending upon us.
Yeah.
And it was maybe, by the time I grabbed the fender and made it to the front, I had enough space to just put the fender in for it to bounce off of. It was kind of on our chain, our anchor chain, which was holding it off a bit.
Yeah.
And then everybody grabbed a fender. Everybody was putting the fenders down. Somebody from behind us had their dinghy and came up.
And came out and held them, and I was grateful that we did that. Telling the guys that both of them were trying to push us off the boat, I went, start the engine.
They were really panicking, so Simon's like, you guys gotta calm down. You need to turn your engine on. And
because the main guy was on the little dinghy which was at the back, when that was the captain, where these are the two deckhands that didn't really know what they were doing. So I had to explain what I wanted them to do, because if they kept dragging back, their anchor was going to hit our anchor chain, I think, and take that with us, and then it would have been in
real mess.
And there was a reef, you know, about 100 yards behind it.
While this is all going on, we have a snubber on the anchor, so I was kind of going underneath, taking the snubber off, so that if we did have to quickly pull up our anchor, we were ready to do so. We could pull up and go, which we did actually.
Yeah, they got the engine going, and then they drove off.
And so it was kind of great for Joe and Sarah. You know, we looked at them and said, don't worry, this doesn't happen all the time, but it can happen. It was a good experience for them to see how to deal with it.
But we didn't get any video of it because we were saving the boat.
Yes. Yeah, somebody on Facebook said, did you get a video? I was like, no, it was all hands on deck. So there was actually 4 adventures. Our third one was...
Right, we went to a place called, we got told the right name, what's it called?
Oh, you don't pronounce the...
D.
Yeah.
Rowing, La Rowing. Isles of Rowing.
No, Ile de Rome.
Ile de Rome.
Ile de Rome?
Yeah.
It looks like Ronde or Ronde Island.
We call it Ronde.
It's right next to Kickham Jenny, the underground volcano that's north of mainland Grenada.
So it's a deserted island with a beautiful anchorage, but it can get really swelly. So we went in there, dropped anchor, and it was nice, and then suddenly it started swelling. So being a monohull, we were rocking and rolling, and so I said, come on, I don't want to stay here all night. So we got up and off we went. The wind was right on our nose, so we didn't put any sail. It was just a 2-hour motor back up to Tyrrell Bay in Carriacou,
Yeah.
but we had the radar on, and I just saw this massive squall coming towards us. So I said, look, this is what's going to happen. And as that, we got hit with 52 knots of wind. Luckily we had no sails up, we just motored. Waves were crashing over there. After about 4 or 5 minutes, it just poured down with rain, the wind died down, and we carried on going through. But as we left the anchorage where it was rolly, this catamaran took our place.
We didn't think anything of it, you know, waved at them and thought, well, they're a catamaran, they can handle this well. The very next day, I was just looking on Facebook, and there's all these like Facebook group, local cruising groups. So there's a Grenada cruising group. Somebody posted that they got hit by lightning, and it's a fire started on their boat, and it was, you know, quite scary and all this other stuff. So I told everybody, I'm like, wow, down in Grenada, somebody got hit by lightning. A couple days later,
We finished off the charter. We went in between these two catamarans. Suddenly we got talking to the catamaran that was in front of us, because I wanted to ask him how rolly it had got, and he goes, oh, it wasn't rolly, we just got hit by lightning. So we were about 40 minutes away from getting a lightning strike.
they didn't get hit by lightning. The water or something around them, so it got hit, and
Travelled up through their plate.
it went through their cooling plate, and then went up. Like their phones and computers were okay, and their engine was okay.
Yeah, engine was okay. The batteries were, the battery bank was okay, but everything else,
Yeah,
the
the
light
plotters,
switches, the plotters, everything was gone.
It's interesting, nobody knows why. I just found this out, that apparently catamarans are more likely to get hit with lightning than monohulls.
Yeah.
And I'd love for somebody to tell us why that's the case.
Yeah, well, our friends Rondo have had 2 proximity strikes now in the last 8 months.
Our adventures will still continue whether or not we have guests.
Yep.
Or it's just us. Before closing this video, I thought I would show you a little montage of Joe and Sarah's full week. It's only a minute long, and it will give you a taste of what happened aside from what we call the various adventures. I hope you enjoy. Bye guys! Bye! So this is kind of an outline of how it's been going for us. If you are somebody that's just getting into boating and want to join us, you know, come aboard. We can hold up to a family of 4, so 2 adults, 2 kids, and we take singles too.
Yep.
We enjoy having people with us, and we'd love to, you know, help you on your path to becoming a cruiser. We've got more information on the website, which is sailingbritican.com. We also have over 400 articles and videos on our website, so if you haven't been there before, check it out. Sign up to our newsletter so you get notified every week of what we've got going on.
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
No. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Should you sit up? Do we usually sit forward?
I don't know.
All right.
Should I keep my glasses on or not?
It's up to you. They look okay.
Yeah, need cleaning. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, you can introduce us. Don't do that.
Oh!